Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we'll fill you in on all the latest local headlines and groundbreaking news. I'm Izzy Salant.
And I'm Penta, and you're watching UMass News Now.
The UMass community is mourning the loss of Michael Boland, a former offensive lineman from UMass football who died suddenly on February 5th. Boland graduated from the university in December of 2016 and left behind many friends and community members who knew him. His death was a shock to the community, and people responded with kind words and condolences. His teammates and coaches then took to social media to express their sympathy. One of his former teammates, Ross Collins, posted on Instagram, quote, "The feeling is indescribable. I'm not sure if it will ever set in. It was an honor to be around you for these past 3 years. Thank you for having my back, Mikey B. You were an incredible dude with such a big heart. You will be missed by many. Rest in peace, 71. End quote. Boland's cause of death is still unknown.
In Hadley, a man crashed his blue Toyota Tacoma into a tree on West Street last Wednesday night and fled the scene. The man left his bumper at the scene and even asked the tow driver to not call the cops on him. Following protocol, the tow truck did indeed call the cops, and the cops came to the scene with no driver or car in sight. Sergeant Ken Hartwith, a police officer in Hadley, says that this kind of stuff happens all the time, saying, quote, "I've been in the cop business for over 30 years. I've seen this stuff happen before," end quote. With the license and parts of the car in his hand, Hartwith has identified the driver, but has yet to take any action.
Winter Storm Nico provided a winter wonderland for some and a frozen nightmare for others. The storm dropped around 18 inches of snow in some areas and left many in eastern Mass without power. According to Mass Live, National Grid and Eversource, two of the largest power companies in Massachusetts, reported over 4,000 power outages between them. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker issued a statement during the storm, warning people that the storm would worsen and thanking people for staying off the roads and being safe. UMass students, faculty, along with the Massachusetts Public Schools, most of them, received the day off on Thursday, February 9th. New England hasn't caught a break yet, though, however, because another storm following Monday brought a 1-2 punch up to 7 inches in some areas. UMass News Now correspondent Juhi Dasrath has more.
This is Juhi Dasrath with UMass News Now. Today is February 9th, 2016, and it is the first snow day of the 2016-17 academic year. We are currently in Washington Tower, Southwest Residential area, and there's about 7 to 8 inches of snow on the ground. This area is expecting about 12 to 16, and students are out there skiing, sledding, and of course spending time in their room. Let's go talk to someone now.
Sledding, might get some hot chocolate, just relax with friends.
We actually had a sleepover.
We did.
She lives in the honors college, so we had our sleepover tonight so that she didn't have to trek over in the snow. You know, I haven't seen anyone fall yet. I'm not sure how the roads are going to be.
Haven't been on the roads yet, so I'm not sure, but the walking conditions aren't too bad.
We were probably going to play snow football, but I doubt that's going to happen. Probably just going to stay in all day. Probably play Super Smash Bros. For a little bit.
Juhi Dasrath, UMass News Now.
Okay, thanks, Juhi. Speaking of the snow, the PVTA abruptly shut down their bus services Thursday afternoon during the snowstorm, leaving some people stranded. An official announcement made by the PVTA stated that people should return to their homes immediately because buses were returning to the garages. With this shutdown, people like Vanessa Vasquez of Westville were begging people for rides, saying, quote, "We were trying to get home," unquote, Vasquez said, as she thought the last PVTA pickup would be at 1 o'clock. 10 other people were kicked out of the PVTA station, and Alexander Wheaton commented that the station, quote, "unexpectedly shut down services here and left about 30 people stranded here at the bus station," unquote. No comments have been made regarding the incident.
By the way, if you want to see that package again about the snow, you can catch it on Amherst Wire tomorrow. Moving on, two Pioneer Valley residents, Stefanos Georgiandis and John Nemec III, were brought before a judge on Wednesday, February 8th for their involvement in an armed home invasion that took place in Amherst on October 30th. According to Mary Carey, the spokesperson for the Northwestern District Attorney's Office, Georgiandis faces charges of armed robbery and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. His bail is set at $10,000 and is under the conditions stating that he cannot leave the state and can have no contact with the victims and must submit to random drug testing. Namick is charged with conspiracy to commit the crime and faces a $5,000 bail, as well as the same conditions. They are both due back in court on March.
A car exiting the Tobin parking lot heading left onto Commonwealth Avenue was struck by another car heading northbound on the same avenue. According to the collision, first responders immediately helped the person out of the vehicle by breaking through the windshield. No injuries were documented, but the driver was sent to the hospital. Although the Amherst Police Department, the UMPD, and the AFD could not be reached for the comment, Amelia Hesk told the collision, quote, "I heard a loud crunch and I stopped to see what was going on. At first, I thought it was a fender bender at the end of the Tobin lot. I heard people and saw in the white car on the side and realized that there had been a serious accident. A light pole was also hit during the accident, and the physical plant is handling damages to the structures around the crash."
On February 9th, the members of the South Hadley Select Board voted unanimously in favor of placing an anti-corruption bill on the ballot for the town's annual election, which will take place April 11th. According to Mass Live, Chairman John Hine was initially hesitant to give his support, as he wanted to focus more on, quote, local matters, end quote. However, in the end, the bill passed unopposed.
The hatch at UMass Amherst will be reopening as a multi-purpose space after being left vacant for almost 2 years. Anthony Vitale, president of the Student Government Association, stated that although the room will be opening up, the use of it is still unknown. At the moment, students will be using it for study groups, holding club meetings, or for eating food brought from elsewhere. Not a lot of people of work will have to be done to reopen the hatch. Food stalls will be covered up, and furthermore, furniture will be added from the small renovations to purchase furniture. The project will cost about $200,000, and that all of it will be financed by the administrative capital budget. The hatch will go through serious changes in the years to come as preliminary designs have been made.
A hospital is currently under fire after revealing that their next fundraiser will be at the Florida resort of President Donald Trump. Dana-Farber Cancer Institute announced the location of their next fundraiser would be at the President's Hotel, which received massive backlash from patients, employees, medical students, and donors. Some of this backlash was in response to President Donald Trump's recent Muslim ban. According to the Boston Globe, the Cancer Center released a statement stating that it is too late for them to cancel the event and that doing so would be detrimental to the much-needed funding, but that they would avoid, quote, controversial venues, end quote, in the future.
Civil and environmental engineering professor David Reckhow received the Chancellor's Medal after giving his lecture about the current drinking water crisis. Speaking about the historical, biological, and political roots of lead contamination in water and its byproducts, Reckhow was able to explain how water professionals have inadvertently damaged the water in the Earth's ecosystem and provided solutions to resolve the many issues that revolve around water conservation and treatment. Arthi Mohan, a civil engineering PhD student, is one of the over 80 graduate students that Reckhow has worked with, provided her thoughts on the subject, saying, quote, "It's unique in a sense that not many universities are involved in these kind of activities. I'm from India, a developing country, and I'm also from this far south, and I've been through a lot of water scarcity and water quality issues for some time during my childhood, which led me to pursue a master's degree in the United States. The program was interesting, and the research was even more interesting, and it led me to pursue my PhD."
Former Massachusetts Catholic priest Ronald H. Paquin was arrested last week following an indictment the day prior for sexual misconduct. The indictment was on 29 counts of sexual misconduct. Paquin served 10 years for child rape of an altar boy and was released, actually, in 2015 after medical specialists determined he was no longer a danger. But police issued a warrant for his arrest after his indictment in Maine, and he was taken into custody without incident. According to the Boston Globe, he is set to appear in court, being charged as a fugitive from justice.
A man in Florence attempted to murder his ex-girlfriend before sunrise last Wednesday. According to police via the Daily Hampshire Gazette, after sneaking into his ex's house through the unlocked door, he professed his love to her. When the woman did not express similar sentiments, 25-year-old Robert Hendricks Jr. proceeded to strangle her. When the man loosened his grip, the girl pried herself free and ran into the bathroom, yelling for her mother to come help her. When the mom woke up, she told her to come downstairs to her bathroom, in which she did. Hendrik followed and tried to wrestle the phone away from the mom. The phone eventually landed out of everyone's reach, and that's when Hendrik fled this crime scene. Hendrik was found 2 hours later and is being charged with attempted murder, 2 counts of strangulation, assault and battery in violation of abuse, prevention, murder, witness intimidation, armed burglary, and assault and battery on a person over 60 years old. The victim told police that she had a restraining order on him already on that, and there is a warrant for his arrest in New York, and that the man was due to court over the weekend.
It seems even robots aren't immune to the dangers of radiation. A remote control robot that was designed to clean a damaged nuclear reactor at Japan's Fukushima power plant had to be removed Thursday after it experienced camera problems, most likely due to the levels of radiation. This was the first time a robot had entered the reactor since it was severely damaged by the earthquake and tsunami that struck Japan in March of 2011. The robot was unable to complete its mission.
Viacom will officially be changing one of their channel names from Spike TV to Paramount Network. Viacom CEO Robert Bakish said that, quote, "A big part of our future is in better integrating Paramount into the company and connecting it more to the work that we do across media brands," end quote. Spike TV was Viacom's most successful network with an average of 700,000 viewers. Their biggest hits being Lip Sync, Bar Rescue, and Cops. Viacom looks to continue their success on Paramount Networks alongside their 5 other main networks, which are Comedy Central, Nick Jr., MTV, and BET.
Trump's immigration ban, the controversial executive order that forbids any immigration to the United States from several Muslim-majority countries, isn't the crackdown the White House has had on immigration recently. Because recently appointed Attorney General Jeff Sessions said the United States must bring an end to illegal immigration. According to BBC, Sessions said, quote, we need to end this lawlessness that threatens the public safety, pulls down wages of working Americans," end quote. During his swearing-in ceremony, Sessions has been regarded as a large inspiration for President Trump's anti-immigration policies and was appointed Attorney General at a 52-47 Senate confirmation vote after many hearings that mostly pertained to his views on civil rights. With Sessions now the head of the Justice Department, he will have control over the 113,000 employees and enforces policies as he deems fit to help the American people.
And finally, a real heartbreaking story for LL Bean lovers everywhere. The very generous return policy by the outdoor enthusiast store may be leaving forever. A once return your used items for a full refund, regardless on how long you have had them, may be leaving, according to the company, saying, quote, "Our guarantee is a handshake promise that will be fair to each other." The company pledges on its website, so if something's not working or fitting or not lasting as long as you think it should, we'll take it back, end quote. This may be changing along with freezing pensions, may put New Englanders at an uneasy state of mind. The company is also offering early voluntary retirement and plans to freeze pensions as well. And that concludes tonight's newscast. Be sure to tune in at the same time next week for all the latest local headlines. I'm Nicholas Penta.
And I'm Izzy Salant. Thank you for watching UMass News Now, and have a great night.